First off, thank you for having the interview with me.
Thank you.
Let's know you. I'll paint a picture of what's the picture some persons see you as, and certain description that has been used to describe you as a person. Disloyal and unfaithful and selfish. I think those are like the three major things lots of persons use in describing you as a politician and as a person. How do you react to that?
Well, first of all, when you say a lot of persons, I assume that you mean supporters of the Minister of Transportation, because that's where that always comes from. I don't think that any of the people you saw here today would describe me in such terms. If they did, they wouldn't be here. So when you have a situation where a party is factionalized, the way we are here, the people who don't like what we're doing would naturally tend to parrot the opinions that justify what they're doing. And those who believe in what we're doing have different ways of describing me. They describe me as tenacious, they describe me as courageous, they describe me as truthful, they describe me as a politician with very strong convictions. So it depends on who you're talking to.
So what exactly are you doing?
What we're doing is that we are trying to ensure that we change the way politics is conducted in this country. And that is not a small undertaking, neither is it a very, very popular one with the powers that be, but it does create a foundation for a politics that will yield benefits to the broad majority of the people in any given society. If you have politics in which the opinion, the feelings, and the views of other people are taken into consideration, you're bound to have a government that will also have respect for the views and opinions of people. Where you have politics, where all that matters is the opinion of one person or a godfather and all that, then when a government emerges out of that kind of politics, the government is also as selfish as its origins. So what we're trying to do is to create a government that enjoys popular participation, where people are given a voice. It doesn't matter that at the end of the day, it is not what you expect that you get. But it does matter that people should be consulted and their views should be taken into consideration in taking decisions in any political party. And the origin of what we're doing here is that when we were here together in the party, everybody contributed to building the party. And then you get to a point where one man appropriates, the collective strength of everybody and becomes a sole decider in everything, and other people's views and opinions are easily discounted. Then that is not healthy for the development of our polity.
Can you recount a particular, say the particular straw that broke the camel's back for you personally, the point where you felt that at this point I really cannot take it? Can you recall the event?
It's not so much as an event. I mean, I was in my house when the minister came to visit me and told me that he heard that I wanted to run for governor, and called me in front of my wife to warn me that I shouldn't try it. If I try it, he's going to fight me and all that and all that. And then I decided that I would try it. And that's what I'm doing. And a lot of people, when he came back and expressed the same sentiment to the leaders of the party, it broke the party into two. So it's not something that I personally decided at any point in time. It is something that a collective group came together to say, no, this is not how politics should be conducted, and this is not how politics will be conducted, and we're not going to accept it. And these people were leaders of the party in practically all the local governments of the state. A lot of them have now crossed over to other political parties, and it has really created a problem in the party here. But it is something that was deliberately instigated by those who felt they have the power. And let me tell you something about life. Any time that people have power and they express an opinion, everybody who is following that power parrots that opinion. They don't subject it to any kind of analysis. And even if they do subject it to some kind of analysis and they agree that it is not correct, they still do not agree that you should hold an opinion different from what the leader holds. That's not democracy. It doesn't work that way in a democracy. And these are some of the things that we think we can improve upon, and we're working hard to see that we give people an opportunity to try the other side, because there's a flip side to every coin. You know, if this is one side of the coin and this is what this side of the coin has brought you, why don't we flip the coin around and try the other side of the coin and see what we will get?
What exactly was your pain at that point in time? Was it that he spoke to you in front of your wife in the manner at which he did, or that he was acting as a god over you?
No, the truth of the matter is that as a human being, I have a right, you know, under our constitution and under the constitution of our party, to make up my own mind. And I've made it up. And my mind was made up to the point that I feel that the members of the party, other leaders in the party, other people should have a voice in this kind of decision. And when the leaders of the party themselves came together and invited me that, listen, this is what we have seen, and we feel that we will ask you if you're interested in this thing and you would like to do this thing, we will give you every support. You don't have to bring anything. We will give you that support if you're ready to do it. But the only thing, you must promise us that you won't stop. And I mean, that's what every politician is looking for, support. And I said, fine, I won't stop as long as any one of you here is still standing and determined that we should continue. And we held hands and we prayed. So it is not about me. It's not about me. It is about a commitment that we all made, and the commitment that we are determined to see through to the end.
Do you think the minister was upset that he wasn't consulted first?
No, nobody, at that point, nobody had decided to run for office or do anything. He was the one who started it. These people responded to what he said in a meeting. When he called a meeting and said that he has told Senator Abe not to dare run for governor, and that anybody who supports him is no longer a member of the party. And so people left that meeting very angry, and they called themselves and said, no, why should he come and talk like that? You people call Senator Abe, let him come. If he's ready to run, we'll support him. That's the origin of it. It's not that they held the meeting and then he heard about their meeting. No, they responded to his own high-handedness or to his own way. You see, as a leader, if you decide that you're not supporting somebody, you're still the leader of both those you support and those you don't support. And how you handle those you don't support is equally as important as how you handle those you support. That's politics. That's leadership.
Okay, so let's talk about you now. Many of the time when people hear Magnus Abe, they always think of Rotimi Amaechi and line it up to you. I'm believing that there is a side to you that people do not particularly know. And if you can share with me.
I don't think it is correct that when people hear of Magnus Abe, they think of Rotimi Amaechi. That's not true.
Currently.
Because we have issues, that's in terms of the All Progressives Congress issues in Rivers State, which is what has entailed a lot of people, you know. But you will remember that I was minority leader of the Rivers State House of Assembly here in Rivers State for 4 years. I was a commissioner for information here in Rivers State for 4 years. I was the secretary to government here in Rivers State for 4 years. I was chairman Senate Committee on Petroleum Downstream for 4 years. I headed the Senate investigation into fuel subsidy and all that in the Senate. You know, I was chairman of the Senate Committee on the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency. So people have come in contact with me in a lot of different capacities over time. This political situation and the political crisis that pitches me against the leader of the party in the state is a recent thing. It doesn't define my politics. You understand what I mean? When we were together as a party. We conducted an election 3 times in this state. And I'm the only person, the only senatorial district where the All Progressives Congress won an election by voting in this state was in my senatorial district. And that's not just an accident. So there is a lot that defines me outside of this present crisis. That's a topical issue at the moment. But that's not what defines me as far as politics is concerned. I have a track record in politics. I have a track record in governance. I have a track record even at the bar where I came from.
Describe yourself. I guess that's the point. Something about you that probably people do not care to look at.
I don't think, you see, when you keep talking about people, you have to really define which people you're talking about.
Rivers people. I'm not talking about political people that have 1 or 2 affiliation with politics. I'm talking about ordinary people. Because what ordinary people hear is what is being dished out at the secondary level. That's the political level. And then that's what they run with.
No, that's not true. I live here in Rivers State. Every time people talk about political representation in this state, they talk about the example that we set in the Southeast Senatorial District. I've been endorsed and celebrated by students across board, across parties in this state because of my contribution to the lives of younger children, particularly students. These are outstanding records that define me outside of the political sphere.
Yourself.
No, I'm not defining myself. I'm just trying to point out to you that when you keep saying Rivers people, there are various sectors and constituencies in the state that have come out openly to clearly say what they see of me. If you look at the history of this state in terms of political representation, I'm one of the few lawmakers in the state that can account for every year I spent in the National Assembly. The constituency project for that year was clearly accounted for to the entire constituency. Nobody has that record. I can also tell you that if you talk to in terms of my contribution to education throughout my tenure in public service, it's outstanding and is recognized by the entire education architecture, so to speak, from the students to the universities to everybody. They acknowledge that.
Okay, let's push politics out of it.
We need to.
And let's move every other affiliation out of it and talk about you as an individual.
Talking about me as an individual, like every other human being, there are different sides to me. I'm a father to my children and to a lot of younger people around me. I'm a husband to my wife. I'm a chancellor to my diocese in the Anglican Church. I'm a chief in several communities across this country. A part of several other things outside of politics. So it would interest you to know that to a lot of other different communities and societies, I have a relationship that transcends politics, so to speak.
All right, I was going to ask, when you're outside politics, outside family, what else do you do? Outside church and the things you made mention of, what do you do with your leisure time? How do you relax?
I read. I work out, I read. I love traveling. I love watching movies. I love watching television. I love playing games. I love talking with people. I love conversations. I'm a very social person. I'm an introvert, but I'm also a very social person. So I come in different cans and mixes, you know. It just depends on what you're looking at any particular point in time. But I try to be well-rounded in my life, and I do understand the fact that I have just one life to live, and so I can't just live my life for politics, you know. So politics is an important part of what I do, given that that is my vocation. I'm a lawyer by training, and I actually worked as a lawyer and worked with lawyers before I got involved in politics. So, like I said, there are different parts of me, and I always tell everybody that the best version of Senator Abe is the one that will be laid to rest when I die, because I will continue to improve myself in every way I can, and continue to struggle to make a positive contribution to society. Sometimes when you're doing something, you're misunderstood. People who have power, people who have influence, people who have money can use that to try to paint you in a light, but that's only for a time. These things don't last too long. As soon as power changes and the dynamics that paint your story changes, your story will change. So you don't worry too much. You don't focus too much about what people say. I personally don't care. My life is first of all between me and my God, and then outside of God, my family, and then the rest of the world takes a third place. So if you focus too much on what people say about what you do, you will not have the courage and the tenacity to go through negativity when it comes. Anytime you're doing something in this world and people don't badmouth you or criticize you or try to pull you down, you're not doing anything new. As soon as you get off the beaten path and you want to do something different, you want to create something that has not been created before, you must behave in ways that make people uncomfortable. Like I say to people, if everything you do is just designed to make people happy so that they say nice things about what you're doing, the chances that you'll be able to do anything that would outlast what people are saying is very minimal. For you to be able to do things and achieve extraordinary things, you must be prepared to do things that have not been done before, in ways that have not been done before. So I do understand that what we're doing is something that is bound to make a lot of people uncomfortable, because in this country you don't challenge authority, so to speak. But I do believe that in a democracy, people should have the freedom, and people must fight for that freedom. The idea that because we have a constitution and we have a civilian government means that we have a democracy is not correct. Let me tell you something. In this country, when you go to our National Assembly, individual votes are irrelevant. What a particular lawmaker thinks about anything is irrelevant. Why? Because no lawmaker is given an opportunity to actually express an opinion or force through an opinion on anything, because our democracy doesn't allow that. And if you try to do that, you'll be branded, crucified, persecuted, and you won't succeed. But look at America. The entire democratic agenda of the Democratic Party is arrested by just one senator withholding his vote. You're aware of that? Mm. The entire democratic agenda of the party was settled by just 4 senators and what they were prepared to allow. Why is that so? Because every individual vote in a democracy is negotiated independently. That's what gives the strength and the power in a democracy. But when we come to Nigerian democracy, it's voice vote for everything. Voice vote is only used for procedural votes. If not, every vote in a democracy is tabulated, recorded, both for that time and for posterity.